Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I wanted to do a monthly plan with me for the month of September. So today is August 30th, and if you're keeping track of videos I'm recording, this is actually the same day that I recorded my September planner setup video. So that being said, and knowing that, the landscapers are now gone, but the storm is still here. So if you hear thunder, that's what that is. And the thunder makes Emma bark, and I will try and cut that out. But if you hear her growling or whatever in the background, you'll have to excuse her. So I wanted to start by pulling out this list. Now, if you're interested in a copy of this, I get asked about it all the time. I do have a fairly generic version of this available in my Etsy shop. It's this, it contains budget pages, I believe, and some of these other like weekly routine, daily home, like places for you to write that out. These are fairly as is. There's a few things I've taken out because there are a few things that are unique to me and a limited group of people, but not everybody. So for example, choosing Bible studies for the month, I've taken that out. And perhaps the reference to business income in the editorial calendar. So I've tried to keep these fairly generic, but if you're interested because you want your own copy and you don't want to write your own, these are available in the shop and they're in a whole bunch of different sizes. So that being said, we're going to be working today on the monthly review. Now, as far as the monthly calendars go, because there are so many things that I would have to reference and I don't have them all like handy, just know I've already actually done that part. I usually use my phone, I use Fantastical. You can also use the calendar app. Both of those work just as well. And usually what I'm doing is I'm syncing what's on my phone and what's in my paper calendars, which I've gone ahead and done that. Because the last thing that got added was the Landlord Advisory Committee. So I should be good to go as far as having everything synced up. Okay. And that takes a long time and it's really boring. You get to watch me flip back and forth. So the next thing is to migrate tasks and projects not completed to either the following month or the master list. Now, as far as that goes, in my August pages, you'll see down here at the bottom, I have little check marks. So as soon as I have looked at a page and made sure that everything on the page has been either checked off or moved, I put a check mark at the bottom, so that way I don't have to keep flipping through and looking at it again. There are other people who use stars or things similar to that, whatever works for you. So these are all checked off. You'll notice up here at the top, it says TM, which is an abbreviation for time management. So this is something, and if you'll notice too, it's on the top of every single day. It's not something I necessarily need to check off. It's just something I know that every single morning I want to spend time planning and just kind of being in a moment of solitude. So it encompasses quiet time. When I get to that point, it'll encompass exercise, like all of that stuff. So, and I will be blurring some of this out because this does have work information on it that I can't share. So just be aware. So today I'm supposed to get an email at some point. Let's see, it's 3:30 my time, 1:30 in or 1:15-ish. So 3:15, 1:15. So I should be getting a copy of the budget for the apartment association to review because we're supposed to comment on it by next week. So I'm still waiting on that. I have not seen it yet. So I'm just going to leave that there and not worry about it. As far as the days left in the month, it's this weekend. I still plan to order potty pads for Emma and Joey both. Before I leave because I have like 3 left at home and I wasn't going to be around to get them, and I could have them delivered to the office while I was gone, but then the box would just sit there. So anyway, I'm just going to order them right before I leave and they should be there by the time I get back to California. So that everything's been migrated. So when let me go back to I should actually bookmark this so I don't have to keep flipping back and forth to find it. This is my cheater bookmark. Just throw a pen in. Okay. So tasks and projects not completed to either the following month, which I have this monthly task list thing here. So let's see. Here's the one for August, which I don't have anything written down. If I look at September, I have a few things written down here. So Emma needs to get a couple more immunizations so she can go to doggy daycare. She needs to get her Bordetella and canine flu. I also need to come up with a training plan for her. I need to work on the company budget, October renewal leases, and November rent increases. So these are things that I need to do in the month of September. If it was October and I hadn't finished some of these, I might migrate them forward, which chances are I'm not going to be completely done with the budget, so that one will probably get bumped into October as well. So that's what I mean by following month. The other place that they might show up is back here in my to-do list / project tracking / as Charlie calls it from Productive Flourishing, my idea garden. So this is, for example, my home to-dos. So if it's something that just needs to be done but not in a specific month, it'll get moved here. The first page is actually, or the first spread is actually my work to-dos, which these are from Cloth and Paper. I got them as part of a subscription box, but I was keeping like a list of things that I can do for work while I'm in Texas, so things I can work on remotely. And then I had a few notes because while I was here, one of the things I worked on was taking my sexual harassment class, which is now required, and they say it's 2 hours, 5 minutes, but it was more like a 4-hour thing. Anyway, so I made some notes about things I want to review in our handbook just to make sure that it's included. So anyway, random information. Okay, so review weekly and daily pages for important items or notes that may need to be referenced for the future and transfer to the monthly index page. So again, I will have to blur this out. This is the monthly index page I'm referring to. And the last thing I left off on was the 28th when I did the health insurance audit. I don't think I've had anything after that. 29th, 30th, nope, nothing. All right, so good, I don't have to do anything with that. But if I did have, let's say the last time I'd done it was like middle of the month, then I would just get myself caught back up. But I try and do that weekly just to make sure stuff doesn't get forgotten. Review for task projects and archive planner pages, sections, inserts as needed. Oh, so this is just looking through my entire book. Add new planner pages, sections, inserts as needed. So one of the things that I think I'm going to do is move my meal planning to the planner that I'm using for like my business planning, but it's also kind of going to be a home planner for things I don't have to have with me. So I'm going to take this insert out, which will hopefully make my life a little easier. I loved this card that came with Cocoa Daisy kit this September. Good food and company are two of life's simplest yet greatest pleasures. So anyway, that one is going to go away. This I'm not using, so I'm going to take that out. And that leaves the home section here, which I think this is what happens. You take one insert out and then you gotta shuffle them all around, and that's okay because I think things will fit better. So I'm going to take this tracker and attach it to this one with a jump band. And that'll go in the last string, which means that August, September, this is the weekly. And I am going to try and keep some months in here at the same time. Oh, that means I need another jump band. Just a second, I'll be right back. Oh, I thought I had another jump band, but this is a problem with working in Texas. I guess I left them at home. So let me figure this out really quick. Oh wait, I have one. Oh my goodness, this is my life. Okay, so let's put August back on here. This is what happens when I'm filming on my day off. Sometimes I've left my brain in bed. It's on vacation. Okay, so there's those two. And September gets attached to the to-do book. So we'll see. So the Franklin planner recommendation is to keep 3 months in your planner as far as months go and dailies. So the problem is, as you can see, even though I've taken one book out, this is still very thick. I don't know that that's going to work. So I still have a couple days left in my August book. And I think once August is done, that I'm going to take it out, because I have a reference page here at the beginning as far as important dates. I'll keep the book. Most of the time I throw my inserts away, but I think now, since I have notes included on the pages, I think I'm going to keep them. So anyway, I will take that out in a couple days, but not today. So I've taken out one insert plus the thing I just had tucked in. Let's see, review quarterly goals and break down into monthly goals. So this was what we were actually going to spend most of today on. It's going to show you kind of how I go about doing that. So I start with 2 things. One is my power sheets, the other is my monthly momentum planner. So I'm taking things from my power sheets and breaking them down into my monthly momentum planner. So let's start here. Whoops. So I don't need all of these pages because some of these are older. I just need the year and the correct quarter. So I'll put the rest of these off. So the last time I had the momentum planner, I actually found you could reduce the letter size by 84-85% and it'll fit inside of a happy planner. So I may actually do that again since I'm starting to use these more, and I may actually tuck them in the back of my work planner just so I kind of have them in a place where I'm not just constantly trying to figure out where I put them. So I actually don't even think I need the yearly planner because everything's working from quarter right now. So quarter 3 objectives I'm going to transfer. Now if I have already done something, I'm not going to write it down. So like number 1 says complete lease renewals. I'm done with the bulk renewal period, which is what this is referring to. So I'm not going to bother transferring those. That'll give me another space to add something else if I want to. So the first one is post 1 video and 1 insert per month. Next one is declutter at home and office. The third one is focus on self-care, which was mainly an objective for August, but I think I'm going to carry that forward because I do need to continue making sure that I'm taking care of myself, because life is just going to continue to get busier going forward. And from here I have work on MS training. So since I have 1 spot left, I'm going to look back at these yearly goals and see if there's anything else that I want to add in. And I actually think it's going to be the update policies and procedures. Because this next, well, not so much this month, but starting this month and going forward to the end of the year is when a lot of the legislation gets passed. And so if I need to make changes to our employee handbook, stuff like that, that will need to happen. But I also need to, I also need to adjust workflows and things like that as well, because we've added some new positions, supervisory positions. So how things flow through the office has changed. So that will be those things. So let's see. I do like to try and coordinate these so they match a little bit. So monthly objectives, we'll just put add content for KB, which is generally my abbreviation for Kendra Bork, which is my YouTube channel name, all of that. I'm gonna stop really quick because I need to switch out my battery. Okay, and I don't think it'll change the lighting too much, but I also opened up the blinds on one of the windows because it's actually raining outside right now. I like watching rain, so yeah, open the window, why not? All right, so back to what we were doing. So I've worked on daily home care, decluttering something weekly. So I have update policies and procedures in docs, which is I actually don't have on here. So I'm going to add that to the monthly. And I do like to keep my pen colors the same, and I've lost my pen. Here it is. I was using it as a bookmark. Okay. Let's see. So this is actually probably more of a bigger goal. It's going to be more than just that month, but I need to figure out what I'm updating, kind of the order I want to do everything in, and so that's going to be part of that. So it will probably over the next few months actually get more specific as I figure out what it is that I'm working on. And then last one is to work on Emma's training. All right, so I have that done. Scheduled events. So usually, because there's not enough room to write down everything I have going on that month, so usually these are just things that I know are going to affect the time I have available to work on things. Now I have that. That takes me kind of through the first week. Let me double check and see what else we have going on. Thankfully this week is not that busy, so that'll kind of give me a chance to get caught up at the office. So in the scheduled events, it's not just things that limit the amount of time, but things I know I have to prepare for. The 28th is going to be crazy because I have a fall assembly that I'm going to in the morning and a gala that I'm going to that night. So yay, it's going to be a busy day. All right, so I think my focus this month is actually going to be reset. So last month it was self-care, and I feel like this month I kind of need to reset moving into the fall and just kind of get back some of my routines because I'm not going to be traveling as much as I did this month. So I think it's a good chance for me to do that. All right. So on the quarterly momentum planner, I have some milestones. Things like getting 7 or more hours of sleep on average, writing my self-care journal, identifying and decluttering small areas. I have some leases and rent increase letters to send out again, post a video, post an insert. So these don't really necessarily transfer specifically over to the weekly stuff, but they can. Some of those are things that might come here under daily action, items, and habits. I'm doing really well on sleep. It's just mostly a reminder that I'm going to continue doing that. In fact, well, the identify and declutter small areas, that falls under house cleaning tasks. Most of these don't fit here. Let me see if I have the decluttering also is here under weekly. Yeah, the rest of it isn't important enough necessarily for me to make the effort to track. Okay, so next I want to kind of break down what I need to do by week. I actually return back to San Diego on Wednesday, so that kills like half that week. I am DJing. Yes, I DJ, mostly for swing dancing and fusion, so fusion dance. So I am DJing both Friday and Saturday, and then Saturday the following week. And I actually have been out of town so much, I have not DJed in like 3 months, and so I'm really excited to be doing that again. So this week I need to prep to DJ. I know on the 17th I'm teaching the financial management portion of the Certified Apartment Manager designation or certification. They changed the name and I can never remember which one it is. But anyway, I'm teaching on the 17th, so I actually need to prep for that this week. I'm DJing again, so I'll need to prep for that. So because this week is mostly with like the 2.5 days I have left, one of which is pretty much going to be out of the office at meetings. This week's pretty much shot, so that's the only major thing I'm going to put there. Now the 2020 budget, which of course doesn't show up on here, but I know is something that I'm kind of have here under my monthly action items. So again, there's not enough room to put everything on both. So this is kind of a list of things I know I'm working on that month, as well as the things here under monthly objectives. So This is probably why I get overwhelmed, is because I have more than 5, which you're supposed to limit the amount of projects you're working on to 5. And if you watched my previous video, transitions count as a project. So this is probably why I've been so crazy. But anyway, so 2020 budget, I'm trying to divide this up a little bit. And originally I'd thought about working on HR and associated costs on this week, but I actually did some of that a couple days ago. So I'm just going to write finish HR. And then I'm going to check the formulas just to make sure all the formulas are correct, because that was the issue I ran into this last year, is I had a couple formulas that were wonky and it was throwing everything off, because our budget is in Google Sheets, which is essentially like having it in Excel, but it's collaborative. We're looking for a new CPA, and so one of them I need to send our information to, so he can give us an estimate for what it would cost. And then I have a few other names, but my mom is on a trip and she doesn't get back till the 17th late at night, so she won't be back into the 19th. So that means that week 3, I can call the CPAs to set up a meeting, because realistically, she probably won't be ready to do anything like that till the following week. So you can see I kind of have a list of things I need to do over the next month, and this helps me break it down a little bit. The 16th is pretty much shot. I'll be out most of the day. The 17th for sure, I'll be out all day. The 18th, I will probably work. I usually don't work from the office on Wednesdays, but Gary is coming into town. Well, I don't know, maybe I will stay home. But I have a budget and board meeting on the 20th. Yep, I think I will. Okay, so that pretty much leaves me one other day. Let me check my monthly to do. October renewal leases, November rent increases. So actually, let's see. I can send out my November letters here, and I literally have like 10 or 12 maybe lease renewals, so I can send those out this week, because that should not take me very long. All right, so because I don't have a lot of time this week, I'm not going to work on the budget here, but I will on week 4. So I'm going to go ahead and work on travel and classes, because all my business partners should be in town. I can ask them and see what they're planning to do as far as travel and classes for next year. And then I'll clear out what I call the unknowns. So there are certain things that repeat every year. Like I know we have a water bill. I know we pay for landscaping. So those are things that are recurring. I know that we generally set aside about the same amount of money each year for things like employee appreciation stuff. But there's some things that, and you know, our software, those are all things that repeat, and it just needs to be adjusted based on number of employees and whatever. But there are some things that we plan for in years past, but we may not do again. So those are what I call the unknowns. So I just need to clear those out, so I have an idea of what I need to figure out, what would need to be budgeted for next year. So there is that. So that is, let's see. So I don't know exactly when this needs to happen, so I'm just making a note down here. Has to do with the What Now class, that's what I'm calling it, because we have some major industry changes due especially to one bill, and being that I'm supposed to be president of the association next year, I realized that we need to put together a class that's like, all right, so these changes have happened, what now? Like, what do you need to change as far as your business practices go in order to take all of this stuff into account? So looking here, I don't know when the chairs, vice chairs thing will be settled. That just depends on kind of the timing of somebody else. So I'm just not going to put that on here for right now. This week. I need to work on an insert because I'm trying to get it finished by this week. The collab video. I want to post this week. This one's going to be busy. Try and work on it here. We'll put finish there. So maybe between those 2 weeks I can get that finished. Okay, so the monthly action items for here are mostly scheduled out. So the week that I have not a lot of scheduled events, it looks like I have booked up as far as to do things. So again, I try not to, just as a placeholder in here, so I don't overbook myself with tasks. Sometimes if I have big events that are pretty much going to kill an entire day, I'll actually write the events in that week so that I don't like overschedule myself for things. These are just the big projects, and I think I've mentioned this in a previous video, but just really quick, just to kind of hit the highlights again, kind of how I schedule my weeks. I can find my, here's my weekly routine. So what I tend to do is have Mondays and Fridays be like goal days. So these are the days that I'm pushing forward goals and projects. I tend to have meetings mostly on Thursdays and Fridays, so I keep that in mind when I'm scheduling things. So normally the way that my week works at work is that Monday I don't have any recurring tasks as much as I can help it. I'm just solely working on major goals and projects to kind of push all of that forward. So a lot of these items, if they're work related, will either be done on a Monday or a Friday. So Tuesdays and Thursdays are when I do my recurring tasks. So this is like paying bills, doing deposits, doing payroll, all of that kind of stuff. That's when I try and condense those items. Wednesdays I'm usually working from home, so if I'm doing any sort of filming or whatever, I usually do that Wednesdays or Saturdays. And then Sunday I try and just reserve as just a rest day. So I might be doing like meal prep or something like that, maybe grocery shopping, but I try not to do too much other than that. I try and have it kind of be a lay low sort of day. So this, I believe, kind of sets my monthly momentum planner as far as the weeks go. So I'm going to put power sheets away. So let's flip back here. And I should have gotten a paper clip so I wouldn't have to keep looking. All right. So now I've reviewed my quarterly goals and broken them down into monthly goals, and I've kind of taken them a step further and figured out maybe about what week I'm going to work on them. So that's the scheduling out projects and tasks. The monthly tending list I actually did first and not then. It's kind of both. Sometimes I do it before and sometimes I do it after. All right, so now that I have this is the Cocoa Daisy insert, the Daisy Dory. September's version is the last one that I'm getting. For October, I've scheduled myself not to get it because I want to see how it works without it. But essentially, what I'm doing is putting this information here. So let me do that really quick. This is by week. So essentially, this replaces the daily momentum planner page. Let's see, so this is... So sometimes I do bring things forward because it helps me remember when I'm planning out the day what I need, when I have, oh, actually, that's not lease renewal letters, it's just the lease renewals. I don't confuse myself, let me take that out. So, because that won't take very long, I can probably do that this day. Because I think I get in about noon, so I should have a little bit of time. All right, so usually Thursday, Friday, these kind of bleed between the 2 days. I can kind of figure that out. So that's this week. Let's flip to the next one. So this is the week that's actually fairly open. So I think, whoops. I can also prep for teaching on the weekend if I need to, so I don't mind putting that on Friday. So since the budget's a big thing, I will do that on Monday. I can send the info on Tuesday. So that would be this day. So again, Tuesdays and Thursdays are days when I'm doing recurring stuff. So this gives me, things are spread out, but it should still be fairly doable in and among everything else that I'm usually working on. So this probably looks busy, and this probably does not, but just know that this is just the non-usual stuff that I'm working on. So my husband comes in this day. That pretty much kills that day. That kills that day. So that leaves me essentially Thursday, pretty much Thursday, unless I decide to work on the 18th. So I actually think I'm going to move this to this week. I'm sorry, I'm a little out of frame here, but sometimes it's easier to write when it's closer to me. Seeing as how that may be my mom's first day back, that may make it easier to figure out what day she's available. And I think we're doing family birthday dinner on the 20th, since my mom will be out of town for my birthday. And oh, that reminds me, having dinner with friends on the 21st. So this is this week. There we go. Sorry. I just noticed I'm getting a little out of frame when I'm writing. Okay. Push that back. So then we have the last week. This is one where I have some things going on here. You'll probably see this abbreviation a few times, O3. Those are my one-on-ones with the person that reports to me. Because she has now been made a manager, and so she has one-on-ones with her people. So that's actually freed up some of my time, which has been nice. So there's that, and then this is the day that's going to be busy. So there's that as far as what's going on. So here. I wrote this in the wrong week. So that's good. These can trade places. Okay. So that's kind of how I lay out my weekly stuff. So I kind of have an idea, just a brief overview of what events are going on, and then how I want to break down tasks, so that when I do my daily pages, I can open this up and kind of see what's going on. And then I have an extra page just because of how the weeks fall, or extra 2 pages just because of how the weeks fall. So then September goals, I usually put here. So this is usually where my tending list goes. So rather than forcing you to watch me write this out through the magic of editing and everything else, I will be right back after I finish transferring it over. All right, so I've transferred over my tending list, and I've left a little room after weekly in case I wanted to add a couple of things, but I think my monthly is pretty much booked, so I've left that alone. So looking at last month's, which I did after, I noticed I had put down kind of like the portions of the goals that I was working on and kind of what area they were related to. And I did like that, and so I think I'm going to go ahead and do something very similar again. So This I will go ahead and do really quick. So the first one under health, I put focus on eating healthy meals and daily exercise. So I'm not talking like have to go to the gym and work out for 40 minutes exercise. I'm thinking more like, hey, Emma has a lot of energy. I'm going to go take her for a walk around the block, like that sort of thing. The home one is staying the same, working on daily home care and picking up and working on decluttering. The spouse and finance ones, I think I'm not going to transfer those necessarily forward. So let me actually pull up my goals themselves. I'm going to skip those two and go to Kendra Bork one. So I'm going to make a goal of 2 videos and 2 inserts, but I actually think I probably may even get, well, between today and the end of September, 3 in. Let's see, volunteer. I have 2 things I'm committed to. One's communications chair position for the Daughters of the King, and I really don't know that much about it. I like to commit to things that are really unknown, of course, it seems like. So I need to figure out what that is and what their expectations are. I don't think it's going to be much because I don't know that they really have a lot of expectations on it at the moment. And then the other one is for my presidency next year at the Rental Housing Association. I have notes kind of scattered in several different places, but I need to kind of consolidate what the meeting and schedule expectations are for that. So that's that one. And then I want to keep up the daily quiet time as far as spiritual stuff goes. So this ties in the power sheets and a little bit of the information from the monthly momentum planner. Oh, I guess I need to add in Cambridge here. I'm thinking, because this goal I mentioned earlier for the policies and procedures thing is going to be, I think, fairly large, and it will probably end up going into next year. So I think my goal for this month is just to make a list of what needs updating and then get it prioritized. And based on the conversations and things I'll need to have with people, that may actually take me most of the month, considering everything else I'm going on. And this is why I like doing my monthly planning this way, is I start to get an idea of, okay, I'm actually going to be very busy like 3 out of 4 weeks. And so I know how much I can and can't take on. Because again, I'm trying, in light of all the self-care I've been doing, not to overload and therefore overwhelm myself. So that's kind of the reason behind doing it this way, where I start kind of broad and then start to narrow it down with my, start with my schedule and what things I want to get done and see kind of what space is left over. It's kind of that whole big rocks idea, I guess. Okay, so I've scheduled out projects and tasks. It's on the monthly tending list. Review and update editorial calendar. So actually, because the month of August is pretty much over, I'm going to switch these books out. Go ahead and tuck this in here. I don't think, I'll keep this because this actually has some of, and I'll probably transfer some of this forward. So I have a list of Emma's training goals in here and some other notes that I think I want to bring forward. So I will go ahead and transfer. And actually, I think I'll transfer the training goals over to my to-do project booklet, because that stays from month to month. Same thing with my 3 to 5 year career goals ideas one, because that I will probably want to continue to reference. So, all right, that book's switched out. So I'm going to go grab a pencil really quick, because I don't like planing my editorial calendar in pen, because as soon as I put it down in pen, something changes. I'll be right back. And to be honest, most of the time I actually use sticky notes, but I don't have any small sticky notes here in Texas, so I'll have to bring some back the next time, I think. So if you haven't seen previous video, this is what I am using for my editorial calendar and also my Etsy shop as far as breaking things down and what I'm doing. So today is the 30th. I might get a video up this day, but let's see, that's the day we had originally planned for the collab. Might get some editing done and get this one scheduled. Let me see, what day do I want to put this video out? This is the fun thing. I actually am doing this ahead, so I don't want to put them out super close together. So let's just go ahead and think positive, and I'll get that video out tomorrow because it's not super long. This one might be. Actually, no. Let's schedule that for... that's a miracle. Sometimes these erasers are horrible, but this one's not bad. I'm used to it just kind of smearing it instead of actually doing so, putting it down. I'll put that out there. So we'll put the monthly plan with me on the 7th. And we'll kind of see how that goes. Because it seems a little weird to do the monthly plan with me and have it not post till the 11th, which is when I might have done it. And the 4th and the 1st are kind of close together. Let me think about that. We'll see, maybe that will get posted a day early. All right, so that's what I'm looking at right now, because this week is crazy. So if I get this video done the week before, that should be fine to post. That's the problem. I know I've written it down, but that's why I write it down, is because it leaves my brain as soon as I do. That week's kind of busy too. And I have a meeting on Wednesday, which is when I usually will like to do some stuff at Gary's in the week before. So I don't think I'm going to plan anything. I think everything's going to be toward the beginning of the month. So looking at October, I'm out here. So these may actually go up a little later. But hey, I've put out the planner updates like middle or end of the month before, so you guys are very courteous and kind when I don't get things up at the beginning of the month. So I had that I wanted to do. I also wanted to do, this is my list of videos, a quarterly plan with me. So maybe I'll bump this forward. So this is why I usually use sticky notes. So then I can just write it down and move them around. And I know I want to do, you guys will be nice and not hold me to this. This is pie in the sky thinking right here. Try and put an annual plan with me here, and the only other one I wanted to do was more like a daily. What is my October looking like? So if this actually happens, it will be a very large experiment, because you know I don't plan, or I don't post a vlog style, but I've been wanting to do like a planner day in the life. So like how I use my planners in a normal day, so that would include a daily plan with me. So we'll see. Like I said, be nice to me if these things don't go up when I expect, because yeah. So, and I have other things to fill in, but that gets me 3 videos this month, 2 to 3 videos this month, and I think just remembered my husband is in town this weekend, and I have Mark of Excellence Awards on Friday night, so this will be a better day. That'll give me some extra time. And then we have Thanksgiving. So I might actually, what day do we leave? We leave on the 18th. So I have 2 trips in one that month. So I fly to Dallas, the 19th, and then I fly to, it is Tuesday, to Chicago to visit my husband's family. And then I fly straight back to home. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think I'll get to bring my lighting, but I may bring, I've gotten pretty good at traveling with my tripod and camera. We'll see. So I may bring that back and see what I can get done in Chicago as far as filming goes. I don't know. The lighting gets really weird. That's the only problem. And I hate having bad lighting for you guys. Because I can bring my microphone with me so the sound is good, but the lighting is just, ugh. All right, so, and I'll figure out, that gives me a couple of months ahead. So that's my editorial calendar. And along with that, I'm going to list and insert here. August is bad, but September was fun. Sorry, I'm looking at Etsy inserts as long as I'm thinking about this, because that's kind of goes along with it. This is why there's something to be said for having this all in the same planner. And I have to tell you, it throws me off. I prefer Monday start, these are Sunday start, so my brain's having to shift the days back and forth here. Let's try this here. So I am planning to list these inserts, the Franklin Covey Traveler's Notebook inserts. So I'll probably just go ahead and list September, and because I already have that created, and then work on the rest of the year and get those released at the end of September. So anyway, be looking for those. These may come out, I say tomorrow. Am I really thinking that? We'll put question marks. All right, so that's my editorial calendar. As far as that goes, I have my 2 inserts scheduled. I'll go back to my checklist here. All right, so Bible studies for the month. That one I already know because I'm doing Write the Word. I think I mentioned it in my last video. I didn't realize because was doing through YouVersion, the Bible app on my phone, kind of a read through the Bible in 1 year, and I really wanted to switch to the Write the Word thing. But I hate starting something and not being able to finish it, but then lo and behold, I found out that it's actually separated by quarter, and the quarter ended, and so technically I'm done with that study, so now I don't feel guilty about switching. And I know I'm weird like that, but it's okay. Finalize business income and expenses for the month. I do need to do that. I'll do that off camera. I at least had written down my income in my Happy Planner. I'm trying to keep track of that as it kind of comes through, because that's pretty easy. I just need to go back through the receipts and probably be better about labeling them as being something for the Kendra Bork stuff. So I will do that separately. So that kind of ends the monthly planning. That's all there is. And then from there, I usually roll into a weekly review, but today's Friday, and I usually do that kind of at the end, just so you have an idea of what that would entail. I've already would have synced the monthly calendar. Review goals, roles, and values, and determine important projects and tasks for the week. This is usually when I fill out this compass card here with kind of like what my goals are for the upcoming week. That's this, which is a printable I got online. If you want more information about that, check my September planner update video. Add weekly schedule and day-specific tasks. I try and actually do that as I go, but that's putting them here on this page, and potentially if it needs to get added to this section too, but I've already filled that out. Check master task list and projects list and add important tasks for the week. Follow up on waiting for list, which means that I come into here and kind of flip through and look and see if there's anything in here that kind of is coming due that I need to be concerned about. Which, thinking about that, I actually need to, so I'm planning on taking this day off. If I need to do Emma's vaccinations, I need to make an appointment for her, so that would be important. So I can do that on Monday. Where was I? Oh, in here. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. Let's see, make a list of what has your attention. So this is usually like a brain dump, but I've been pretty good about keeping it all out of my head. Empty loose papers from planner. So essentially where that's going to come into play is I've actually been shoving, and I can't show them to you necessarily, a bunch of loose papers in here for work stuff. And so I will go through and kind of figure out what those are and what they mean and what I need to do with them. But most of the time I try and write straight down into my to-do list. But in this case, because I was working on a bunch of stuff, I was just writing it down as things occurred to me. Kind of like the sticky note here where I had to review stuff after watching the sexual harassment video. Clean out inboxes and action email folders. I do need to do that. Although I've actually been better about keeping my email inbox cleared out, at least personally, because by the time I get around to it, it usually ends up having like 100 emails or something sitting in there, and it's kind of ridiculous. Determine and schedule meals and meal prep for the week. I actually have already done that. So yay me. That's in here. If you watch my September planner setup, I'm gonna be doing it in here, which is why I took this booklet out of my planner. I'm working off of that All About You menu plan. I've talked about it in a couple of other videos where everything's pretty much done for me. It's 1 or 2 servings. If it's 2 servings, it's because I'm eating it 2 days in a row. And it's just very easy. I've made a few modifications for this week because pretty much I'm only in town here. I've kind of split it between week 6 and a little bit of week 1 for where I need to fill in for modifications. So that's kind of what that is. So that part's already done. Usually when I'm doing the monthly planning and then the weekly planning, they overlap, and so there's not quite as much to do. Weekly routine and house cleaning tasks, weekly pages. I actually don't necessarily have to do that as much anymore because I have this, and this is all of that. So I just check it off because it's already put together. Plan fitness, study schedule, outfits for the week. The outfits in the week, and I know I've talked about this before, I do on Cladwell, which is this app here, which right now I have it set to what I brought with me, which is kind of nice. I use this as like a packing list. So this is what I brought with me to Texas. So I'm not looking at options of things I could wear that are not with me. So I don't think, yeah. So let me just put down what I'm wearing today because it's comfy and I took the day off. So now you know what I'm wearing today. Leggings, a striped shirt, and a pair of sandals. So that's pretty much how that works, and then you can actually see what other people are wearing. So you can go to featured and you can see some of the more popular stuff, or you can go to following, and these are people that you follow, so you can see ideas of what other people are wearing, and then you can actually essentially like other people's outfits. So that's how Cladwell works. And you can have different, basically capsule closets. So you can see I use it quite a bit when I'm traveling, which makes it nice. Or I can have my whole closet and have access to everything that I have at home. It's not here. So I'll put it back on my summer capsule wardrobe in Dallas. So that I usually will try and do. I'll sit down and figure out what I want to wear for the next week based on what I have going on. Again, you have the log business income and expenses, and then update the family calendar. With Gary being in a different state, I usually don't worry about that, but when he's in town, I usually have kind of a weekly calendar that's just sitting out that he sees when he walks by it, so then he can know if I'm out of, for the evening or something, so I'm dancing or, whatever's going on. So that's kind of how the weekly review works. And that actually reminds me, see, my brain is not super chronological. So I have monthly, October's quarterly, I have daily, and I wanted to do a weekly. So maybe, which I know I've done these before, but I like to do them periodically. So I'll do a weekly plan with me here. So again, it won't be chronological. You'll get a monthly here. You'll get a quarterly here, you'll get a weekly there, and an annual here. But you'll get an idea of how it all works. And you can see just how ridiculous it is when I do them. Anyway, I hope this was helpful. I wanted to just kind of walk you through what all I do and how I do it and how all of the planner stuff kind of fits together. Probably the only thing you didn't see today, because I don't use it when I'm weekly planning, is just this, which is my Erin Condren Petite Planner, which I'm using as a self-care planner, but I just use that like for 15 minutes in the morning and maybe a couple minutes at night. But it's not something I need on a weekly planning type basis, because it's more of just a day-by-day thing. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions, please leave them down below. If you liked the video, I'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. If you would like to see more videos like this, you obviously now know what my editorial calendar is, so you'll know what's coming. And if you would like to be notified when I release new videos, please click that bell, because I do not, as you can see, release them on any sort of a regularly scheduled basis. So unless you happen to catch an Instagram post or something in my Facebook group that I have released a new video, hopefully you would find out from YouTube, but I don't know how reliable they are. But that subscribe bell will definitely give you a heads up to let you know that I have released something new. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!